everybody. Welcome to this episode of the Disc Golf Fans Rant. I am Bobby Cool Daddy Slick Breeze, and I have with me in the DD Studios, Kyle Westside Webster. I have to give everybody a middle name. So Westside Webster.
Westside Webster.
So Kyle Webster is from Team Westside Discs, and he is here for the weekend. He's going to do some video stuff with Anthony, get some content out there about some Westside Discs molds. And then he's going to come with us to the Arrowhead Stadium and do some exciting stuff there. And then Sunday do even more videos. So we are super excited to get Kyle on video. How are you feeling, Kyle?
I'm feeling great. Happy to be recording some Westside Disc content for the fans. It's awesome.
Now, let's go ahead and talk about it because it's upcoming. You have a pretty big event happening in your life here, right? Within the next few weeks?
Oh, yeah. Biggest event of the year, biggest event of my life.
Yeah, talk to us about that.
I'm getting married
to
my beautiful fiance, Audrey, July 2nd.
You nervous, excited? What?
I am excited. That's a good way to put it. Super excited. We've been planning hard for a year, and this last month has been pretty hectic, and we're about to head over to Oregon and get hitched.
That's awesome, dude. Well, congratulations, obviously. Hopefully everything goes well. Now, are you doing the honeymoon right after, or
we're gonna spend the week up in Oregon and enjoy ourselves and do a little sightseeing. But the plan is to do something on our anniversary next year.
Okay,
so something bigger.
Sure, that makes sense. Makes sense. Very cool. Well, if you guys, I'm sure you've heard of Kyle Webster, but just in case you haven't, Kyle, tell us kind of your disc golf story. How did you discover disc golf, and kind of tell us the quick story of it leading up to what you're doing now in disc golf.
Okay. Well, my dad introduced me to disc golf originally back in, I'd say, between 7th and 9th grade when I was a little younger, and he found disc golf in college and introduced us to it and basically got us a birdie putter, a beast driver, the old school discs, and we took them out in the road and we skipped them down the road. That was our disc golf experience for the first time. And then, eventually we made out to a course, got a little older. By the time I was a freshman in high school, I started playing it pretty regularly with some buddies, and it grew from there. Went to college, and I stopped playing my first year of college in 2011 because I wasn't really in the area.
Yeah.
But then I transferred to Joplin, Missouri, where I live now, and they have a really nice community. I had a good community going when I moved in there, and a buddy dragged me out to a tournament, started playing my first tournament, and I was hooked from there, and it's been history ever since. I was a college football player at the time when I moved to Joplin, and so that was my primary focus, school and football, and I was a quarterback, and it was a really time-consuming job, but eventually football started to lose that appeal that it had.
Yeah.
And disc golf was starting to take over, and I was finding myself playing tournaments every weekend I could. If I had an opportunity to get out of a practice, I'd take it, go practice playing disc golf instead. And eventually, that was the case all around. I just couldn't stop thinking about Frisbee, talking about it. Football, I just didn't even care about it anymore. And eventually I just let my parents know. I was like, hey, it's not for me anymore. I don't really want to be playing football. It's not making me happy. If anything, I'm sad. And they were like, what do you want to do? I said, I would love to be able to play disc golf and go full on hardcore with it. And to my surprise, not really to my surprise, because I've always had my parents' support, but they were super supportive. They said, go for it. My dad was even like, hey, if you play open, I'll pay for your tournament entry.
Wow, that's awesome.
But get out there and do it right.
I mean, it is interesting because, I think it probably helped, obviously, because you said your dad knew disc golf.
Mm-hmm.
If it had been parents that probably had never heard of disc golf and you're like, yeah, I want to quit football, college, and go play disc golf.
Yeah.
They'd probably be like, what? You're crazy. Get back in there and go play some football.
Right.
So that worked out good that he was familiar with disc golf.
Yeah. Luckily, he found it in college in Oklahoma, where he went to college, and then, passed it on to me. And he knew the sport, and he knew how serious I was about it. And luckily, because it was the first thing that I ever went out and put the time into it myself.
Nice.
I practiced myself. I thought about it myself. I talked about it to him, and it was never the case when I wrestled. When I played football, it was more like having to drag me out to do it in a way.
Wow.
And so this was the first sport that just I was hooked to it, and I just want to dedicate my life to it now.
That's cool.
So.
Well, looking at your PDJ career, looks like you joined around 2011 in PDJ, played a couple years amateur, but then in 2013 you went open, and you went from, let's see, in 2012 you played 6 tournaments, and then 2013 you played 24 tournaments.
Mhm.
That's quite a leap.
Yeah, that was pretty much the year I decided to go for it.
So I decided to go for it, huh?
Yeah, and then
What was kind of your uh, what was going through your head? What was your strategy, I guess, when you said I'm just going to go for it in picking which tournament to play?
well, luckily in my area, I had the DD series that usually kicks off in the winter time in Dallas area, like Cedar Hill, Louisville, and then I got a tour in my area, Disc Golf Monkey. They run a lot of B tiers and C tiers in my area, and
Yeah.
then some other tournaments, and so I was lucky to have pretty much a lot of tournaments to be able to hit, and being in the Midwest, being able to drive, pretty much anywhere is within reach in the Midwest. So I hit those DD tournaments, I hit the Disc Golf Monkey tournaments, and like I said, I was playing open in these tournaments, and I wasn't accepting cash at the time,
Mhm.
if you can see.
Yeah.
But eventually, I decided to bump up. I actually missed registration for AM Worlds.
Mm.
And decided I didn't want to deal with a wait list or wait for it. And so I just decided the next tournament I played, I think I accepted cash for like 30, $40, So
And
that's
that
kind
was
of
it,
how it
huh?
went. Yeah, that's how it went down. And then I went on tour the next year and been gung ho ever since.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, looking at some of your career wins and some of your places and stuff like that. What was that? What was kind of your training regimen, or what was your mindset as far as competing and getting better? How did you make sure that you were training to get better?
Well, luckily, when I first decided to do it, I had a pretty good work schedule when I was working with my dad, and we were getting up early and getting to work and being done by noon, 2 o'clock every day.
Mhm.
And so I'd spend the whole rest of the evening practicing with whether it was putting, playing rounds, field work. Me and him were out together working, just like we would have back in the football days. It's that this time I was dragging him out there, and uh, and so that was great. And then going to the tournaments, one thing I picked up right away was noticing the people that were beating me in those first round, second rounds, the guys that were winning the tournament. I noticed what they were doing to beat me, what they weren't doing wrong.
Okay.
I noticed that the mistakes I would make, they wouldn't make, and we'd be throwing the same shot.
Hmm.
And so that was something I noticed real quick is what not to do.
Or a couple of those things that you remember noticing.
One thing was especially on like upshots, short game.
Yeah.
I used to throw way too overstable, way too fast.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing that a lot of players do whenever they're first starting out. They'll grab a disc that's too overstable, too fast. So for instance, maybe trying to throw a justice on a short upshot or a criminal or an AT, something that has a lot of skip, a lot of fade. Where now I would throw like a softer putter,
Okay.
like maybe a harp, if anything, more, on that stability. But yeah, just learning those lessons that you need to learn, that might cost you a stroke when you're a pro that you don't even think about when you're an AM, because every stroke matters when you're playing a pro, every single putt. And I wasn't even giving myself opportunities.
So it's not like you were trying to play more smarter golf.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really, it was just
Yeah.
the skill level was there. I felt like I had the skill to compete, and I would go into those tournaments confident, but I would get beat because of just making minor mistakes, not playing smart, being too aggressive, and just I had to learn how to win. You hear a lot of pros say that they had to learn how to win, and
Yeah,
that's
that's
a
a good
real
way to
thing.
put it. Yeah, learn how to win. Going back a little bit, back to when you said you were playing football, but then wanted to play more disc golf. What was it like telling some of your friends or whatever that hey, I want to go play disc golf? Was there a pretty big disc golf community around that understood, or
Well, yeah, the disc golf community itself was great and big, and I felt like I was becoming a part of it,
Okay.
a part of something new and everything, and that was great. And it had gotten to the point where all my football buddies knew I was a disc golf guy.
Yeah.
I was bringing my disc out to the football field and throwing after practice, throwing across the stadium.
Yeah.
That was just having fun. And I would even get my coaches out there to watch, and they were all about it. They liked to think it was cool.
Nice.
They weren't so happy when I quit,
Right.
but I definitely had support, and there's always that allure that disc golf has. Seeing a disc fly through the air,
Sure.
everybody loves it.
Yeah.
And I actually got some football players to come out and play disc golf.
That's awesome.
So it was a
So
good time.
getting involved in the disc golf community seemed to really help. But talk a little bit more about how that really does help for our listeners that go out and play but don't really get involved with the community of disc golf. Talk a little bit about how that really is beneficial.
Well, personally, I noticed my personality change for one. When I was in football, I was a lot more serious, a lot more hard on myself, a lot more had higher expectations for pretty much everything and everybody. And then when I met this disc golf crew, it's a lot less demanding, the attitude, towards each other is a little bit different. It's less hardcore, and that was really comforting. It was a different vibe. The stress level went down. So that was the number one thing for me. I noticed how relaxing and how stress-free disc golf was for me. And I
Okay.
still got to compete.
Nice.
Still got to be competitive. So
Yeah.
that was awesome. And then the community itself, just seeing a lot of people with a common goal, a common thing that they enjoy, and then just sharing the stories, feeling the love from everybody for the same thing. And it's all different. Everybody has their own experience, their own something that brought them into the game. For me, it was my dad, taking my brother and I out just to throw some frisbees out in the street. But for other guys, they have a completely different reason for why they love the game. And I just love that, that we all have that common bond in a different way.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, we asked some questions on the Disc Golf Answer Man Facebook group, so let's get through a couple of those, and then we'll talk a little bit more about your disc golf career and stuff.
Okay.
This one's from Robert Hastings. He says, what do you think is one of the most understated or least talked about disc in the Westside Disc lineup that more people should try?
Well, I'd say it's the sling right now. For me, this year, it was the most surprising mold that I tried out. I did throw the Trilogy Challenge sling. It was a tournament plastic one, I believe, maybe recycled, but I really liked it and it beat in, and so I didn't really give it a chance because I thought it was a little on the flippier side for what I wanted.
Right.
And then the next year or so, I kept seeing people post that they liked the VIP sling for like a more stable type putter, and these were lower arm speed people that I was seeing post this. And so I was kind of getting the gist that maybe if I tried the VIP sling out, it'd be a nice straight neutral flying mid turn resistant. Because if it's flying overstable for lower arm people, I'd assume it might be a little straighter for me.
Yeah.
Have a stronger arm, and that was exactly the case. I found that it is extremely turn resistant with a lot of glide, and it's just, I call it a frozen rope. It just doesn't move when I throw it. And so I'd say the VIP sling, if you haven't given it a chance, if you're still looking for that straight mid range, I'd give that one a chance. It's a great mid.
Very cool.
Sure.
And that was the Trilogy Challenge for last year.
The sling was? It was either the sling or the pine.
Okay, so then it was the one before.
Uh-huh.
Wait.
We've had
the sling I know was because I remember doing a Is This Right For You for it.
Right.
Right, Anthony?
Was it 2 years ago?
The sling? Wasn't it a Trilogy Challenge disc?
2 years
2
ago.
years ago, yeah. So 2 years ago. So yeah, I remember being a Trilogy Challenge disc. Let's see. Jacob wants to know what you feel is the biggest gap in the current Westside Disc lineup.
Ooh, that's a tough one. I'd say if I had to pick a nice straight fairway that's turn resistant would be nice. Right now the Explorer came out, and that's the slot in my bag for that one right now. It's the best fairway I've ever thrown, and Latitude's making it. So if Westside made something like that, then that would fill that gap for me.
Gotcha.
But right now I'm happy with my disc.
I mean, that's the beauty of the relationship we have with Latitude Dynamic Discs Westside is that you players, even though your team Westside, even though Eric McCabe's team Dynamic Discs, they can choose from the three. So if there's something that you need to fill a slot that you feel is missing, you've got hundreds of molds to choose from. So I'm sure eventually, though, as time progresses, we'll have something from Westside that will fill that gap. So back to your disc golf career. So 2013 was it, I think. 2013, you really started playing a lot. 2014, you played even a few more, 29 tournaments in 2014. 2015, another 26 tournaments. Talk about that's almost every weekend, just about. Talk about that working full time and the grind of playing in tournaments and of course competing. How do you stay focused?
Yeah, I call it weekend warrior mode.
Yeah,
and it's getting through that 40-hour work week, knowing that I got a tournament that I'm going to be traveling to. It makes it super easy to get through that work week. I'm sure there's a lot of guys out there doing that, but getting that 40 hours in, hitting the road, and then it's tough, But look, I've learned that if I can make a schedule ahead of time and I can plan ahead, and then it's not so stressful to know that I'm having to hop in the car and drive 12 hours to make like a big tournament or something. It's become second nature now that I've been on the road. But
are you typically afforded the opportunity to go practice like that Friday before, the Thursday before it starts?
No, not really. No. If I get lucky and if I know ahead of time and I can work something out at work and be able to hit the road like on a Thursday morning or something, maybe. But typically I'm rolling in to play blind and just rooting on my skill.
So tell me, do you have any tips or tricks for playing blind?
Yeah, and one thing I noticed, one thing I learned a long time ago, from a great disc golfer named Paul Macbeth, is that you win in your preparation.
Mm.
And so I learned that I can be at home and I can be preparing on the course, practicing shots that I know that I'm going to need to throw just based off of knowing the course.
Yeah.
I can create the scenarios that I need and put in the reps that when I show up to the course, I'm confident in my game.
Okay.
And like I said, I'm relying on my game. I'm not relying on knowing the course because I'm getting there so late. So I'm making sure that I'm putting in the work at home to where I feel confident when I hop in my car that day to
I
go
like
play
that.
that tournament. Yeah.
Is there any routines or something, the pre-tournament routine that you go through when you're packing up and getting ready to go to a place to play?
Yeah, well, when I'm preparing and practicing, I'm always making sure I'm getting at least putting practice in every day because that's just so important. When you're hopping on a green, I don't want to have to think about the putt. I want to pick my spot and throw my putter at that spot, and that's just it. So, getting enough reps in, preparing, and then preparing for a tournament trip. Yeah, I'm gonna pack a day or so ahead of time. I'm gonna make sure I got my bed set up in my car. Probably gonna be sleeping in the car, doing grinding it out and
Yeah.
doing it whatever it takes to make this dream happen. But yeah, just being prepared. Like I said, just make sure the car is ready, make sure everything's packed. Have a box of backups. Always gotta have a box of backups. Nothing worse than having your favorite disc go in the lake.
Yeah.
And it's that one that you thought you're never gonna lose.
Like I've done before.
It happens.
Raise your hand if that's happened. Yes.
I had to replace a disc to do my in the bag today. So.
Yep, you did. You messaged and said, "Hey, I don't have a blah blah blah." I can't remember what it was.
Yeah. So.
Cool. Well, that's good. Yeah, because I know that certain people have certain routines that they get ready for the tournament. A lot of now I know some people. Some people have jobs and maybe they're not at the level where you're at, where they just want to do well at the tournament. They don't necessarily think that disc golf is going to be like your life, but definitely the preparation, the preparing. Even if it's just looking at the course layout or looking at disc golf scene, getting a feel for the course so maybe you'll need that more overstable fairway driver because of the shots that are coming up, or maybe you need more mids because it looks like there's some short, whatever you're looking at and thinking that's what I'll need. It's definitely good to prepare.
Right.
Let's go to back to the Disc Golf Answer Man Facebook group. Chris asks, what would be a good driver/fairway driver for a slower arm looking for controllable distance?
It's a good question. First, the fairway driver that comes to mind would be a really popular Westside mold in the Stag.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's a really easy disc to throw far. It doesn't take a whole lot of spin or a whole lot of power to get the flight path out of this disc that you're going to see a nice, consistent S flight with a healthy fade at the end whenever it slows down.
Okay.
And then in the woods, it's a extremely good disc for like tunnel shots or hitting or getting around corners. The Stag is an all around great fairway driver for anybody.
Okay.
And then if you're looking for something higher speed for a lower arm speed, the Queen or a Destiny, both those discs, they're fast. They're 13, 14 speed, but it does not take a whole lot of spin, a whole lot of snap to get that disc to fly. And it works great for throwing uphill, low ceilings. So give those discs a try if you haven't already.
Gotcha. Let's see. Keelan asks, when are we going to get the Maiden in the stores? Now, the Maiden is the putter from Westside for the Trilogy Challenge. Typically, well, no, not typically, always. The molds that are in the Trilogy Challenges, they aren't available until after the Trilogy Challenge is over, and that's about October-ish, I think it is. So about November, around that time, you'll start seeing the stock stamp for some of these molds come out, so it won't be around till that time. I know some of the tricks that some people do is they'll go play a Trilogy Challenge, and if you really want that Maiden and you're not too keen on some of the other ones, maybe you can trade some people. I've seen a lot of that. Or you'll go on Facebook and you can kind of search for them, and you'll see some auction pages of some people, getting rid of the Maiden for whatever reason. They'll have them on sale there, so you can get that. But you've thrown the Maiden, correct?
Oh yeah, I'm bagging the Maiden.
Oh yeah, because you've done a video on the Maiden. Did you do a video on the Maiden?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I did a first look. It should be on the Westside Disc Facebook page. A first look video for the Maiden.
Tell us real quick about the Maiden.
Well, right out of the box, you're going to find that it's extremely neutral. It's a turn-resistant putter, but not overstable. Just flat, lot of glide, straight shooter. That's the best way to describe it and the shortest way to describe it.
Gotcha.
I'm using it for my straight putter shot or my understable putter shot. With it being so neutral, it's really easy to control and manipulate.
How do you know? So that brings up something interesting because you said it's in your bag now and it just came out, with the Trilogy Challenge. Mm-hmm. What's kind of your process for when a new mold comes out and you think, okay, now as a team member, we ask you, go try it out, let it give us some feedback, tell more people about it. But in your mind, what's the process for when a bag goes, or I'm sorry, when a disc ends up in your bag?
Okay. Well, first I always think about whether I need something or not, whether I need to fill a hole or not, and and you always hear what the disc is supposed to fly like. So that makes that right away is going to let me know whether or not I'm going to even give it a real try
Right.
mentally, and so let's say when I first switched over, I had an issue with expectations because I would try a disc out needing it to do something. I would need this disc to be overstable. I was going to need this disc to be super straight, and then it wouldn't be. And then I would just give up on that disc.
Interesting.
And then I'd find out later, oh, that disc is really useful for a different shot.
Very interesting. Wow.
And so that was when I switched over to Westside from another brand. It was really difficult to build my bag for the past couple of years,
Yeah.
just because of that.
Yeah.
So many options. You try something out expecting something else. You heard from somebody else that was supposed to fly a certain way and it didn't. And then that disc, I would just write that disc off pretty quick just because there's so many options. I got to find something to fill a spot. So when I was trying the Maiden, I learned not to have expectations. I didn't expect it to be overstable. I didn't expect it to be flippy. So now I just pretty much throw everything on a flat, straight line, maybe a slight hyzer to get that initial what does it fly like on a soft hyzer release, because that's my natural release. That's how I'm going to throw it.
I like that breakdown. That makes a lot of sense because yeah, that's right. I mean, a lot of people will go on, and I get it, I understand, but we'll go on Facebook and we're looking for a new mold, and we'll ask multiple people, "What's it fly like? What's it fly like?" Or no, you'll get someone that says, "I need a disc that does this," right?
Right.
And you'll see like within the first 10 minutes, like 4 or 5 different molds,
all across the spectrum.
right?
Yeah.
And it's like, and I understand, I get it, and it helps you get an idea. But you really got to know your game. You got to know your skill level. I can't even talk. Your skill level, and yeah, that's good. You can't set any expectations. You can get a kind of an idea,
Mm-hmm.
but you got to just pick up a disc. You got to go out and throw it.
Yeah.
Can't look at the numbers.
Yeah, those numbers they'll
get you. They'll get
you.
you. I know it's a guide. No, we're not going to go down that. Don't even get me started, Kyle.
Yeah. Just take the disc and throw the disc, and then figure out what that disc will do for you.
Absolutely. Bob wants to know when will some Westside Disc apparel be more available? We're working on it, Bob. Promise, we're working on it. We've got our guys designing stuff for DD, for Latitude, and now we're going to really get some stuff out for Westside. So be on the lookout for it. It might take a few months, but we're trying to get some more stuff out there.
Yeah, I was wandering around the warehouse a little bit ago, and I saw some things I hadn't seen in the store before.
Oh, yeah?
So we're starting to pump some stuff out. Yeah,
We got some hats.
Yeah,
we got hats, right? And
So
some Silly Pint cups.
they're coming.
They're coming. These are. Have you drank from one of these?
Yeah, I have 2 at home.
These are weird.
Yeah,
These Silly Pints things
cool.
are weird. All right, so let's talk more about your disc golf career. So let's go up even more to 2016, 2017. What's that look like for Kyle as far as your game improving and going on tour and all that?
Okay, yeah. So 2016 was the year I went on tour with Zachariah.
Okay.
Yeah. And Zachariah Johnson, he's the Latitude 264 team member. He's a guy that I came over to the Trilogy family with. We learned the disc together, and we both went through those same struggles. And that was our learning year together. We called it, and we learned our bags, we built our bags, and it was a really good time being on tour. We did the first 8 weeks of the year, which would be the Memorial, Vegas. We played the first ever World Tour event at La Mirada, and then we jumped up to San Francisco area, Sacramento area, and played at Orangevale, the St. Patty's Day tournament.
Yeah,
so it was a really good time, and we finished up in the Midwest with the Casey White Open, GBO, those tournaments like that.
What would you tell somebody that because we on the Disc Golf Fantasy Man, quite a few times we get people that say, when should I play a tournament? When should I actually? What's your advice to somebody that's really starting to fall in love with disc golf? It's not sure when they should play a tournament.
Well, when you should play it, there's no real wrong time to play a tournament nowadays because of the fact that we have the novice divisions available, pretty much the beginner division. You might not win a prize in that division, but you're definitely gonna get that tournament experience that you're looking for. The rules are still the same for the novice player. Everything's gonna be the same, except it's not gonna be so serious. The competition isn't gonna be so big. So once you feel like you have a comfortable set of discs, maybe 3 to 5 discs that you feel like what those discs do. Those are your discs. once you feel that, and once you feel like maybe you have a buddy to go to a tournament with that's played a tournament before, make you feel comfortable, then that's probably a good time. You know, that was what I did. I had a buddy who showed up. I was at college taking a test, a math test, and I walked out of the building, and my buddy was sitting out there in his truck and said, "Hey, get in. We're going to a disc golf tournament." It was an early morning test, and we went and I played my very first disc golf tournament in rec.
Right after a test.
Right after a test at college, and that's how I started my tournament career. So you know, there's no right or wrong way to do it. You'll fall in love with the game.
How'd you do on the test?
I passed the test and I won the tournament.
There you go.
In rec. I guess I would have won advanced as well. It was
really?
Yeah. So
bagger.
I know. I got that first bagger call right there. So.
What are your thoughts on baggers? Like not in a sense like bashing on baggers, but when should someone move up?
Well, the ratings are a good indicator. I used to think ratings didn't matter and stuff like that, but it is a pretty good indicator of how well your potential is to play.
Okay.
And then it's an average. We say it's just an average of how well you play on average, and if at tournaments you don't play well on average, then that's just where you belong in that division. But I'm a little bit more competitive on that stance. It's almost like you got to earn your way up to the next division, from my point of view. But if you're a 936 rated golfer and you're playing advanced, more power to you. That's where you feel like you should be. You should be there. You don't have to jump up and play open.
Yeah.
If they don't make you.
So I'm looking at your ratings details, and I see you got some pretty big, nice round ratings, in here. Now, as far as your rating history, it looks like your highest is right now, or right now you're rated 996.
996.
Is that the highest you've ever been rated?
The highest I've ever been was 999.
Okay.
The teaser rating.
Oh, okay. So you 990 went down a little bit, then coming back up. Yeah. Now, yes, rating is a good way to kind of give yourself a guide of how you're playing and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But when you're in the middle of a tournament, how much is the ratings on your mind, or is it usually right after the tournament you try to check?
Man, it used to be like the only thing I cared about for a long time, where it was just like, what can I shoot to shoot 1,000 rated round? That's all I cared about, was getting those 1,000 rated rounds to become a 1,000 rated player. And so, yeah, I would be thinking about that during my round. Like, every putt is 10 points. Every putt is money. That's the pro mindset sometimes.
Yeah.
And so I had to learn to not care about that, because it gets to the point where when you're playing open, the rating doesn't matter whenever it's money on the line or a place on the line, because you could shoot a bad rated round and win a C tier.
Yeah.
So I'm not really thinking about the rating so much anymore, but I do know that when I'm shooting hot, that I'm expecting a hot rating, or I have that feeling that a hot rating's coming, and I want to keep that alive. And you can feel it in your game when you're putting well and you're throwing well. You're playing like the rating that you feel you should be. That's how I feel. You can feel it's a feeling too.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, let's see if we got any questions out on the board. Let's see. Nathan says, shout out to Wichita, Kansas. Much love home. Turn up the volume, Christy Moore. You don't have to yell at us. 2 exclamation marks. Come on, Christy.
Get loud.
Get loud. I guess we'll get a little louder. I always thought about learning how to win is important in MA2 and MA3.
Well, we're learning to win, period.
Yeah. Dean just, I think it was just a comment. Dean says, I always thought learning. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Matt says West Side is the best side. Let's see. So let's go back to Disc Golf Answer Man. Do you miss your Elasto Sampo or Elastoplastic in general?
I don't say I miss them. I was a really big fan of the Elasto Sampo. It was my go-to fairway driver until the Explorer came out. And so, like I said, I wouldn't miss it. I really enjoyed the Elasto Sampo, but now that I have the Opto Explorer, it's pretty much knocked that out of the bag. I like that stiff feeling plastic that I'm getting out of the Opto Explorer and the Flight combined with that. So hard to beat that.
Yeah. Someone asked Blaze, says, when will Elastoplastic ever make a return? Sparko Elasto Warhorse has a nice ring to it. Oh, that's up to the big guys, Jeremy, Dave Berglund, all them to figure that out. Because as you know, Elasto, Elasto, a couple other plastics,
fluid
and all that. Yeah. Just trying to keep up with production and what's doing really well. So, but we'll have to wait and see. Did you enjoy the hashtag Daily Anvil?
I saw those. I saw the hashtag floating around.
Do you think it increased enthusiasm for what could be the disc of the year to 2018?
It increased my enthusiasm, that's for sure.
So
Yeah.
actually, what he's talking about, we have the Anvil. Now, it's been out in special edition and in the first run, but just, in fact, today, 11 a.m. Central, you listen to this Friday, June 15th, this became available, and of course, you can get it at dynamicdiscs.com. But this is the Westside Disc Anvil in the stock stamp. For our audio listeners, it's a Speed 4, Glide 2, Turn of 0, and a Fade of 4. Talk to us a little bit about the Anvil, Kyle.
So the Anvil is Westside Disc's new overstable mid-range, as the flight numbers indicate. Speed 4, Glide 2, 0 turn, 4 fade, like Bobby said, and those numbers pretty much hold true. I normally don't cling on to I don't think the flight numbers always hold a lot of water, but this one, they pretty much nailed it. It's super overstable. I wouldn't say it's as meaty as a Justice. The Justices don't have a whole lot of glide. They love to get down. They have one purpose. Where the Anvil, I feel like you can get a little bit more distance out of it for sure, more glide, more workability, but you're still going to get that really hard nose down finish that you would get with like a Justice. Nice. So for me, I'm bagging both a Justice and an Anvil, and the Anvil actually knocked out the Bard for me. So I have to throw it a little bit harder to get what I want, like a Bard flight for an Anvil, but it's giving me a great, really, really nice overstable mid-range option that I've been looking for.
Nice.
So it's great.
Now, before you guys get all upset and say, oh, it's a Bard replacement, not necessarily, but it's just something that the shot he was looking for.
Correct.
The other one today that we came out with is the stock stamp of the Westside Discs Warhorse. Now, I've been hearing, have I thrown it? Maybe I threw it the prototype, but all I'm hearing is beefy, beefy, beefy with a side of beef. This has a Speed 13, Glide 4, Turn of 0, and a Fade of 4. Yeah, with those 0 turns, you're not going to get much. You're not going to get any turn. But yeah, so talk to us a little bit about this distance driver.
Well, you're exactly right. That 0 turn means that there's not going to be much turn on this disc. It's definitely my favorite disc to forehand right now. I like a good distance driver that I can throw hard on a forehand and get, that 400-foot distance with a hard fade, and that Warhorse is the disc. It fights the wind, it fights turn, and it likes to get down on its nose. If I throw it on a backhand, it's the same result. I'm really liking it for spike hyzers. It's a disc it's a shot that's kind of hard to lock in because you want a disc that's going to finish hard on its nose without much glide. And I feel like they nailed it with this Warhorse and getting that flight characteristic achieved. Really good.
Matt, and this is a good question. Matt says, is the Warhorse beefier than the Enforcer?
Man, that is a good question. I have not thrown the new Zach Melton ones.
Yes.
And I hear those are the beef, like the beefiest beef. So I haven't thrown one of those side by side with the Warhorse, but I feel like they'll be similar. Personally, I'm bagging a Fusion Burst Enforcer, and I know for sure that my Warhorse is more overstable than that one. But I do carry a light Warhorse that'd be around the similar stability.
Oh, okay. Very cool. So like I said, the VIP Anvil stock stamp and the VIP Warhorse stock stamp is available today, as of today, at dynamicdisc.com or your favorite retailer that's out there. Let's see. Daniel wants to know, not Danielle, Daniel, is what is your favorite putter and why is it, or is it not the Harp?
And well, that's a tough one. I'm a big fan of the Harp though. Yeah. BT Soft Harp. It's my go-to, I'd say, throwing putter off the tee. I probably throw that one the most off the tee. I definitely throw it the most for up shots. And when I'm trying to give it a soft run, an aggressive run, I'm probably throwing the BT Soft Harp as well. Really, really good putter. They nailed it with that one.
Yeah. JT asked about the West Side, the background behind why all the medieval type stamps on there. Mm-hmm. Do you know the story behind that?
Yeah, a little bit. It's Finnish folklore, based off of, I believe it's called the Kalvela.
Yeah, I think so.
Kalvela, yeah. And that's basically the Finnish folklore, their legends, where they get a lot of their fairy tales, their stories from, their history. And so a lot of their stamps the influence comes from the Kalvela and the story that is told. And so they turned out pretty cool. And I think we have some of the best stamps in the game.
They are pretty cool. Next one comes from Christopher. Which color molds of the Anvil were made with the Sparkle Plastic? Have there been any flat top anvils made yet? Wish I had the answer for you on that one, Christopher. I know I'm looking right here at a blue one that has some sparkle on it. But I don't know. I mean, there's no way for me to know exactly which colors specifically had the sparkle in them. As far as flat top, I bet you can find this. Well, this one's got a little dome to it. It's not too flat.
Personally, I noticed that the first run in the Protos had a little bit more dome than
Okay.
the special edition. The special edition plastic ones, the
Yeah.
tournament style plastic, those seem pretty board flat compared to these.
Nice.
So if you're looking for a flatter anvil, I'd try the special edition plastic ones.
Let's see. Eric wants to know, can he be sponsored? He says, "LOL." For real though, what would be your go-to favorite signature disc and why?
Ooh, man. I probably have to stick with a harp right now.
Okay.
I know it's a super popular disc with a lot of pros, and for me, it fits right in there. So it'd be some variation of a harp, BT soft, maybe a VIP, something like that.
Any southeast tourneys? Jeremiah asks.
Southeast,
Yeah.
man, I would love to be able to make it to the USDGC,
Yeah.
and then any tournament that's held at the IDGC, I would love to make.
And Taylor Mountain with his signature all caps. Have you ever watched Taylor Mountain? Have you ever seen his post?
No, this first one,
He always puts all caps. Taylor, come on. Come on.
it's consistent.
Yeah, but it's yelling. Everybody knows
It's yelling.
online etiquette. All caps is yelling. Taylor, why you mad, bro?
You mad,
I'm
bro?
I'm just picking on you, Taylor. I'm just having fun. Do you feel like the rest of the Trilogy family is jealous of your awesome stamps? Oh, you just mentioned you thought. No?
I don't know about jealous, but yeah, those stamps are pretty awesome.
They are pretty
It's
cool. It's pretty cool to see
Yeah.
what they come out with. Cool. Let's see. What else do we have? No more on the. Let's see if we got some new ones that were posted on the Facebook group. Nope, no new ones there. So, what are your plans for the future? And just like what's the rest of 2018 look like, and going into 2019 for you as far as disc golf?
Well, number one goal is get married.
Yes.
Get that done in July and start our lives together. And then after that, I'm going to start hitting that schedule again, making the schedule, signing up for as many big tournaments as I can. Like I said, I'm doing the weekend warrior mode. I'm working 40 hours a week, and then I'm hitting the road on Thursdays usually. And so if I can get to as many disc golf pro tour events as possible, I'm going to try to do that. One of my goals would be to make that pro tour final championship, where the top players in the tour get to compete against each other.
Yep.
That'd be a great goal of mine. That's a great goal to get. And then and other than that, I just want to be on the road as much as possible, and I'm trying hard to grow the sport in my area in Joplin, Missouri as well. Trying to get the league scene up. There we have leagues 4 days a week now, so I try to get the numbers up for that, and then get the tournament scene up a little bit more. And then, so that's a couple small goals for me there.
Now I know your fiance, soon to be wife, plays some disc golf, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We met on dollar disc golf auctions.
Oh, okay.
Of all places, but yeah, she was selling a disc on dollar disc golf auctions, and I was like, man, there's a girl selling a frisbee. This is back in 2013.
I need to know more about her.
Yeah, look at this robot. But yeah, I hit her up, sent her a message. I was pretty patient about it. Just say,
Yeah.
hey, I'm gonna be touring. Maybe I'll run into you. You're sponsored. She was sponsored by Legacy Disc at the
Okay.
time. And now she's backed off from that. She's going full gung ho with the school and work and everything. But anyways, long story short, she moved to Missouri, and now we're together and getting married.
So I'm assuming obviously that Anthony has some.
What's
Anthony has a follow up. Oh, Anthony wants to know if you still have the disc that you brought from her.
I didn't even bid on that disc, man. I just
He's just a player.
Went straight to the
Yep,
seller.
yeah.
Straight to the seller.
Enough about them discs.
Yeah.
Anyway, how funny. So obviously because she's played the game, just like with your dad, he was involved in the game. So I'm assuming she's a very big supporter of yours.
Oh yeah, biggest fan. She'll listen to every single disc golf story I have, every idea I have about a video or whatever. She's my biggest supporter and always down to drop everything and listen. And I've dropped everything and gone on tour, left her at home for 2 months straight with 5 animals.
Wait. 5 animals.
That's right.
Let's talk about these animals real quick.
We've got a farm at our house.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, 2 German shepherds, a little rescue shepherd mix, and then 2 cats. So,
And they all get along?
they're all best friends.
Oh,
It's
really?
legitimately a family.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's great, man. but yeah, so like I said, she's been a real trooper.
Yeah.
She's real supportive. Anytime I tell her I got something disc golf that's important to me, she understands that it's important, and she's supportive, and we work really well together about making it work, having a good balance at home.
That's good. We got a question just came in from a Brian Shintaku.
Sounds familiar.
Shouldn't you be working, Brian? In your opinion, what could make the Westside Discs brand better?
Well, right now we're working on visibility. I'm here in Emporia. We're going to be trying to get you guys as much content on the internet as possible, so you have all the information about Westside possible. So that's the first step, is really just getting that visibility up there. Getting the information from you guys, the fans, and what you guys want to see. That helps us get a grasp on what we need to do as well. So I really appreciate that. So if you guys have any advice for what you guys think we need to do, we'd love to hear it. And we're going to keep trying to put content out for you, more apparel, just everything better. We're just going to try to keep making noise.
Let's see. I'm trying to see if there's any questions we can ask that are in the Google Forms, that just to get kind of your perspective. A lot of people asking specific questions. Sorry for the lull here. Here we go. Wait. Oh, here we go. Sorry, that was a weird pause. The audio people are probably like, "Wait, is something wrong?" Let's see. This question comes in from the Disc Golf answer form or question form. Happy Fillmore. He wants to know, when I miss my putts, I miss to the right of the basket. What am I doing wrong? On your mark, get set, go.
Okay, I was actually just talking about this one in the car on the way over here. So for me, I putt with a BT Hard Shield. And when I first started putting with that putter, I noticed that I was missing to the right, even though I was putting it on a hyzer. I'd hang it out to the right, and I was having issues figuring that one out until I realized I had my nose angle a little bit too flat or even nose down. And that was causing less glide to happen. And when there's wind on top of the disc, instead of underneath it, it's going to push it down. It's going to push it down to the right if you're putting spin on it in a hyzer. So for me, to eliminate that nose down or that wide right miss, I started putting the nose up a little bit more, allowing air to get underneath it, allowing the putter to be a little bit more overstable. And so that's what helped me really center up my putting. And if anything, it helped me miss more to the left. So hopefully that helps you out.
There you go. Awesome. This next one is from Jason. Do you keep your breathing consistent from shot to shot? Do you hold your breath once you start your run up, or do you exhale first, then start your run up? That's a good question.
It's a great question. It's something I know I don't think about, but it's definitely just being comfortable on the tee pad, having nice, calm breathing. You don't want to be out of breath. You don't want to feel like, you want to have oxygen in your body, for one, to help your brain be healthy and be thinking, just like you want water in your body. So make sure you're having a nice, constant, smooth breath. Don't overthink it. Don't hold your breath, for sure. Just be relaxed, be comfortable, and on the tee pad, and just be focused.
Excellent. This one comes from Jonathan. Will the X step give me extra distance? I am currently working on nose up problem I have. I am currently throwing drivers in mid ranges the same distance with a standstill form. Thanks for the help.
Yeah, I definitely would say that an X step could help you gain distance. One thing, it's not going to be easy right away, because there's a lot of timing in an X step with the upper body, lower body, your feet, your head, shoulders. There's a lot of things that got to work together. So getting in those reps, feeling comfortable on your feet, being able to do everything without thinking about it would be the first step. And then 2, the X step will really help you with distance, because by moving down the tee pad and doing this X step, you're creating torque with your lower body by getting your hips turned and getting your shoulders turned. And so that's where a lot of power comes from in top pros and guys that can throw far, is they're getting their hips turned. You'll see their feet turned with their heel facing the front of the tee pad, because they've got their hips turned all the way around, and that's creating torque in their lower body, which transfers into the hand, out into the disc.
Nice. Very nice. Jeremiah asked a question. Any more details or updates on the Westside Discs bag? I don't know of any more details. I mean, I know we're working on it.
I wouldn't be surprised if something came out.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, we're working on something. I think it's just trying to figure out the look of the bag, how we want it to, just basically figuring it out. What kind of bag do we think the market needs?
It's got to stand alone.
Yep. Let's see. Now this is a good question. Daniel says, actually, Kevin says, I hate the Shield.
Easy.
I'm not sure why Kevin would hate the seal. Daniel says 2 years, Westside Disc was developing smart discs technology that consisted of a Bluetooth link chip attached to 2 new molds. How is this progressing? I don't know everything I can say other than when Latitude 64 and DD acquired, whatever the official legal term is, Westside Discs, there was a shift in the focus of the company. That's probably a good way to put it.
Yeah, that's good.
So there you go. How does Kyle stay so dreamy?
Ooh, man. I take a lot of showers and I get a lot of sleep.
Showers is probably a good idea.
Yeah. And then drink a lot of water.
There you go. How funny. Kevin says long Bowman overmold. Actually, we have a new overmold coming out. No, it's not new. It's already been out, but I wish we had one here.
Fuji?
The Fuji for the disc golf experience at Arrowhead Stadium is actually, it's what is it, Anthony? Have you seen? It's red in the middle, yellow in the middle, and red on the outside.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So make sure. And then the budge.
The budge.
The judge is a red and yellow burst. Yeah. So
cool.
Make sure you follow Dynamic Discs on Instagram and all those places, because you're going to see a lot of those flying around tomorrow at the stadium, and you'll get I'm sure there'll be some leftovers. So maybe you'll be able to get your hands on that after the event. Let's see. Well, Kyle, it looks like we've done plenty of getting to know you and got plenty of questions. Talked a little bit about some product coming out. I know you've still got some videos you're going to work on with Anthony, so we can get some stuff done with that. Super excited about it. So thank you so much for coming into the studio and letting us get to know you a little bit more and talking a little bit about Westside Discs. I know that we're going to see a lot more from you coming out of Westside, so super excited about that as well. If people want to kind of follow you, because I know you like to do videos on your own, where can people follow you to kind of know your story and follow what you do?
I appreciate it. Yeah. All my tags, all my social media pages will be Disc Golf Kyle. One word, Disc Golf Kyle. And yeah, I try to post videos on all my social media pages as much as I can. Try to stay active. So as long as you follow me on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube, you'll see something Disc Golf Kyle related and Westside.
That's awesome. I love it. Cool. Good stuff. All right. Again, thanks, Kyle. And we'll let you get on with the rest of your day, get some filming done, because I know you're excited about getting that 98-degree weather. Let's do it. All right. Thanks for listening, guys. Thanks for watching out on the video. Guess we'll see you next time.